How do you keep everyone locked in and not worried about getting their share?
They're team-oriented. They want to win. Probably just close my eyes and throw it and hope one of them catches it. No, I'm not worried about that. They know I'm going to do my job, and I hope they trust me to do that.
Baker Mayfield meeting with the media on Monday, along with teammates Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and Myles Garrett on the first day of the offseason program. And look, this is one of the realities, folks, of having an offense that is chock full of great players. There is still only one football, and you need to find a way to distribute it in a manner that keeps everyone happy. From Beckham to Landry to tight end David Njoku to running back Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt is looming after his 8-game suspension is served. And when you have a quarterback that knows how to connect with the teammates and the teammates love him and follow him and will listen to him, that makes it easier to get guys to buy into however many catches or touches they get in a game, even if it's not as many as they would like. They are happy with what they're doing because they're trying to keep everything moving in the right direction. And it's easier to do when everything does move in that direction and you do score points, Chris, and you do win football games. Then it's easier to get guys to buy in taking reduced stats.
Yeah, it definitely is, right. Winning cures all when it comes to stats and things like that. And winning, excitement for what you got as a group in general. I don't think this is going to be an issue with, this group of guys. I really don't. I mean, again, I think these are all guys who have a bigger goal in mind. They love football. That's the one thing that jumps out to all of them. I know David Njoku, he's from New Jersey. I know a lot of people, he grew up close to me or in the area close to me where same thing. People tell me he lives it all the time. So they're obsessed with the sport. And the big thing is where the receivers and running backs are going to be able to buy into this, Mike, too, is Baker Mayfield just isn't the type of guy that seems like he's going to play favorites. So nobody's going to feel like they're getting left out because, Baker prefers to throw this guy. He might have a favorite when he goes, it's go routes. Well, I prefer Odell Beckham Jr. here. But he might, he also might go, it's over the middle, and a tough catch. I might prefer Jarvis Landry in those type of scenarios. But in general, he's going to throw to the open guy and spread the wealth. And I think that's what they can all be excited about.
And we've heard some of those stories about how some quarterbacks may play favorites. That was one of the criticisms coming out of Pittsburgh in the aftermath of the Antonio Brown trade. And that Antonio Brown trade, that resulted in the player, number one, forcing his way out, unless it was a coincidence and the Steelers wanted him out anyway. And number two, forcing his way to a team that he wanted to play for because the Bills were in play. When it came time to talk to Brown about a contract, it was clear that Brown didn't want what the Bills were offering, so he managed to get his way to Oakland. And that's relevant because yesterday Odell Beckham Jr. was asked if he would have selected the Browns if he got to choose his team. Here's what Beckham had to say.
At the end of the day, I'm here, so it doesn't, this is a different league. We don't get to pick where we go. I feel like there's no way God would have led me here to not be here for a reason.
Okay. Look, any other year, any other time, a guy says it's a different kind of league, you don't get to pick where you go. Fine, you're right, you don't get to pick where you go. But this is happening at the same time Antonio Brown did get to pick where he went. And more accurately, he was able to pick where he didn't go. He was able to say, I don't want the Buffalo trade. I'm not going there. Something that Odell Beckham Jr. didn't even have anywhere on his radar screen. He had no choice. He was dumped onto Cleveland, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it would have been any team.
Yeah.
Here's where you're going.
Right.
He had no control over it, and it's got to drive him crazy, Chris, that at the same time he's got to say those words, he knows in his heart that, yes, you can beat the system. Antonio Brown did. Odell Beckham so far didn't.
Yeah, well, I don't think he cares because he didn't beat the system, but he ended up in a place where I think he realizes and goes,
Did he get a new contract?
Well, no.
Did he get a new contract?
But we know John Dorsey said he was going to have a conversation with him. I bet you it happens. I bet you they up his money. If you want to double or nothing that stake, okay? Just let me know.
No,
okay?
Because you're going to keep trying to double or nothing until
I don't
you
have to
owe
pay
me nothing.
you. Right.
I'm eventually, here's what's going to happen. You're eventually going to owe me $60 16 steak dinners, and
Right.
you're never going to give me one
And
of
then
them.
my contract will be up at NBC, and I'll leave town, and you'll never find me again. That's really the plan I'm trying to come up with. But regardless, I do think Odell Beckham Jr. has a chance to get more money, and I do think it will happen when all's said and done. Yes, he didn't beat the system, but I don't think he was looking to beat the system. Odell Beckham Jr. has never been that guy. To what you said, late for meetings has not been an issue. Missing practices altogether has not been an issue. You know, again, not threatening to punch reporters in their jaw and test their jaw never happens with Odell Beckham Jr. So he's a different human being than Antonio Brown. And again, it drives me crazy. I know it drives you crazy a little bit that they get lumped together sometimes. And I want to go, no. Antonio Brown's, sheet of things that he's done wrong is 5 times longer than Odell Beckham Jr.'s, which is basically boat trip on a day off. Oh no, he might have had a blunt in Paris one year. Oh my gosh, he's the worst person ever. He smoked a blunt in Paris. Holy crap, let's lock him up forever. And then what was the last? Oh, and then he proposed to the kicking net. Oh gosh, this guy is bad. Woo, man. So I just get sick of that narrative, and he didn't put a stink up, and he's happy to be in Cleveland.
Yeah, and look, all I know is this. In the immediate aftermath of the trade, there was a report from NFL media that he wants to have his contract adjusted the same way that Antonio Brown did. And who knows when they will do it. He does have guaranteed money this year, which makes it maybe a little bit harder for him to put a hand out and say, I want more. And I don't think he's wired to be that guy.
Right.
To make us stink. I mean, maybe deep down he would like it, but if you're not the kind of guy that's going to ask for it, then the team never has to deal with that issue.
He never
John
sat
Dorsey,
out,
I
right,
think,
Mike? I mean, he never sat out and missed time.
He stayed away from the offseason program two years ago.
Right.
But he never said why.
Right.
He never said why. And the reports were he wasn't happy with his contract, but he would never come out and say it. So I think that he is very concerned about how he's viewed, whether he's loved or not loved by the fans, and he's trying to avoid being hated by the fans.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.